Hello, my name is Bradley Butler. I am the Executive Director and Curator at Main Street Arts in Clifton Springs, New York. I'm going to take you on a virtual walkthrough of our current exhibition, Made from Clay. This is an invitational exhibition and features functional and sculptural ceramic works by 13 artists from across the upstate New York region. The collection of work gathered in this exhibition represents a range of material, style, and subject matter, and presents a cross-section of work being made in contemporary ceramics in the region. There are 168 pieces in this exhibition, and it's been a very exciting show to put together. I personally have a deep appreciation for ceramics, so it's been a very special exhibition for me personally. And so I'm going to show you a bit of the exhibition here, do a little walkthrough of the show, and give you a little information about each of the artists. As I mentioned, there are 13 artists in this exhibition, and everyone is from the upstate New York region. So we've got people from Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, the Finger Lakes, Alfred, and it's a really great eclectic mix. A lot of special work in this exhibition, I think. And the goal here was to, like I said, really create a cross-section of what's happening within the region in the realm of ceramics, and thinking about that both sculpturally and functionally. This is definitely, since we are not a ceramic gallery specifically, this definitely pushes the limits as far as, how many pedestals we have and how much floor space exhibitions take up. So it's a nice refresher on, how to successfully install a ceramics exhibition at Main Street Arts, something that we don't do all the time, but I feel, I really enjoy when we have an exhibition that features ceramics specifically, because as I said, they just are something that I'm a painter myself, but I could have also been a ceramic artist. I love ceramics so much. It's just an interesting medium, and this exhibition and the work in it, I think, just showcase that nicely. So just go around to the next room here, and then we'll get into talking about each of the artists' work. I love the color palette throughout the show. There's some great pops of vibrant color. Then you've got a full range of browns and, kind of everywhere in between. We've got work that is very whimsical and fun. We've got work that looks back at history and kind of the tradition of ceramics. And we've got work that incorporates other materials in addition to clay. And the great thing about this show also is that it featured work by some of the people who we've had in exhibitions in the past, but also artists who we have not worked with here at Main Street Arts in the past. So it was a nice mix of, getting to show some of our favorite people working in ceramics, and then also getting to know people who we have not worked with personally, but we have known their work before, just from being in the region. So we'll start by looking at, first artist here we'll look at is Mike Griffin. So look at a couple pieces by Mike. Mike is from Naples, New York, and he went to school at Alfred University for liberal arts and found his love for clay there. He is a golf professional in addition to being a ceramic artist. So in the summer months, he's too busy with that job in order to be in the studio as much as he would like. So the majority of his work is made in the winter months. Mike is looking to expand his workspace and slowly transition into a full-time working potter. Look at another one of Mike's here. And Mike says, as a self-taught potter, I have experimented with many forming styles and decoration techniques. I had a natural affinity with clay, but many years of trial and error have led to the recognizable style I'm creating today. The pots I am making will always be evolving as I continue to play with color combinations and more surfaces. But as a potter, that's exactly where I'd like to be. So all of the work, I think all of the work in this show by Mike, coil-based pots. And what's really great about the way he works with the coil is he lets that show through as a design element, which I appreciate. Where Mike's over here. Next person we'll look at is David McDonald from Syracuse. So here are 3 of David's plates here on the wall, large platters. So David McDonald from Syracuse, New York, attended Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia, where he majored in art education. After receiving his Master's of Fine Art degree, he joined the faculty at the School of Art and Design at Syracuse University, and he received the Excellence in Teaching Award from NCECA in 2011. You can see these really great carved pieces. And he also has another plate over here, and then some large vessels in the other room we'll look at. And David says of his work, the principal concern of my art is the articulation of the magnificence and nobility of the human spirit, and a celebration of my African heritage. The material I use is clay, and the primary vehicle for expression is the vessel. In my view, the vessel represents unique social and spiritual connections and associations to all people that do not exist in non-vessel ceramic forms. There exists in the vessel a timelessness and universality that records, contains, and continues the very essence of humanity. So these are some large figurative jars by David. Great mix of glazing techniques, and again, similar to the plates, great texture, and some other elements too, other non-clay elements. And we got a third of these over here as well. And let's see, next we're looking at work by Mitch Messina. So we'll go to this room over here. Mitch Messina from Pittsford, New York. Mitch is a professor of art at Nazareth College in Rochester, New York, where he teaches ceramics and sculpture. He received his BS degree from PSU in 1984 and a master's in fine arts degree at Tyler School of Art in Philadelphia. He taught at numerous colleges before moving to Rochester in 1990. And so Mitch has 2 larger sculptural pieces on tables in this room, and then he's got 3 on wall shelves in the next room. And Mitch says, my work explores advancement in tools and technology, my work explores how advancements in tools and technology have transformed the nature of human interaction. From primitive existence to today's digital age, tools have marked stages in the development of civilization and provide evidence that human beings continue to advance along an evolutionary continuum. The catalyst behind my sculpture is the belief that the relationship between man and object no longer extends our capabilities, but instead has begun to limit society. And Mitch has been in shows here in the past, and some of the last work we had from him, he was doing, these heavily painted sculptural forms, this time using glaze to very accurately mimic what he was trying to get with the paint. So it was really interesting to see, how work by an artist that you may follow for years, how that evolves and changes. And in this case, I think goes back to some glazing that Mitch was doing prior to using paint on sculpture. Next, we'll look at some work by Brooke Malekia from Fairport. Brooke received her BFA in ceramics in 1995 from West Virginia University. In 2004, she began teaching at numerous craft schools in upstate New York and served as an adjunct professor at Nazareth College. She was also an artist in residence at Fairport High School, mentoring advanced students with artistic careers in mind. And Brooke's work is definitely the brightest in the exhibition, and I think her palette really fills a great spot in this show. Really punctuates nicely with her use of color. And a lot going on the surface, a lot to dig into. And Brooke says, the majority of my pots are wheel-thrown and altered functional forms with applied surface decoration. I'm fascinated by patterns, symmetrical geometry, and the natural repetition that surrounds us. My method involves intuitively making decisions about the state of the work. I design the surface while I'm working, as decision-making in the moment calms me. I believe that through these altered forms and visual patterns, something is communicated that cannot be expressed in words, and I ultimately hope that others enjoy that experience. Some great, almost graphite line on there. Next, work by Chatham Monk. Chatham is from Shortsville, or currently in Shortsville, New York, just down the street here from us at Main Street Arts. Chatham was born in Virginia and lived there most of her life. Recently, she moved to the Finger Lakes area with her 2 boys and husband. That's Justin Rice, also part of this show. Together with Justin, Chatham ran a wholesale and retail gallery shop in Central Virginia for 15 years called Oxide Pottery. And this piece here is an incense burner, very elaborate and fun incense burner. And Chatham says, the work shown here is a continuation of my exploration in underglazes as a drawing medium. The imagery in the work is about the personification of animals within a changing and challenging environment. I recently witnessed woodpeckers fighting in the winter woods. When it comes time to paint them, I think about their day, their meals, their culture wars, and mostly their worries. So it's really great to see, kind of the full range of uses of ceramics within this exhibition. Using, as Chatham does, even though some of these are plates, using them as a canvas, to make a 2-dimensional image. And let's see here. Next, we'll look at the work of Dejan Pejovic from Rochester, New York. Let's see. Though Dejan has spent the last 40 years in Rochester, much of his formative years have been spent abroad. Those years form much of his worldview and search for meaning, and his search for meaningful imagery. And Dayan says, the language of sculpture is form, so what's the need to write? We live in both form and language. Words have a place, though they should not be used to describe or explain, but rather to reveal. For instance, if I were to title a figurative work or an abstract one, landscape, it would be using a word to reveal something about my subject. But it might also limit the work to a single association. If I overuse language, then the viewer could well visualize the description rather than respond to the work itself. Like in the fable of the Emperor's New Clothes. Probably I've already said too much. But I definitely see these, very architectural, natural or seemingly natural vessels that exist in nature, but also are very much otherworldly or alien. And I love the various clay bodies that Dayan uses with the work in this show. You can see kind of his full range of what he's using as far as clay goes. Next, we'll look at some work by Justin Rice from Shortsville, New York. For the past 20 years, Justin has worked as an independent artist and designer for hire, working primarily with clay, wood, paper, and digital media. He was born and raised in the Finger Lakes region. He received his BFA from Cleveland Institute of Art, where he also met his wife, Chatham. Over the past 15 years, his primary focus has been clay, both functional and sculptural. And so we've got 3 jugs here with some great drawing on them. And Justin says, pop culture has routinely served as my daily escape. Comic books, movies, music, and toys provide me with windows to step away and float into other worlds. It is from these short-term pop art escapes that I draw inspiration for my studio work. The structures I encounter through the mass-produced object permeate the way I see form. Devoting myself to a studio practice parallels and goes hand in hand with my escape. The act of making in the studio presses pause on all of the external pressures. So here's another sculptural vessel form of Justin's. The Space Burger. Next, we'll look at the work by Amanda Schober. Amanda is from Buffalo, New York. And Amanda has a background in graphic design and web design. Compositional elements of design influence her choices, where she has control and lets the glaze chemistry do the rest. She co-owns Terra Clay, which is a teaching clay studio in Buffalo, New York. And Amanda says of her work, I am primarily interested in surface and process. I love simple shapes which allow for nuance of glaze and texture. I enjoy seeing the hints of how pieces are made. It gives the viewer a chance to connect with the object and the maker. I want to hold a piece and know it is one of a kind. So this is a wall piece by Amanda, which contrasts nicely and goes well with her functional work in the show as well. So I've got some carved cups in here too. But you can definitely see that color palette for her goes across all of the work in the show for her. And just a few more artists to look at. Next we'll be looking at Jane Schellenberger from Mount Morris, New York. And let's see, we'll go over here. And Jane Schellenberger was born in Michigan and received her BFA from Kansas City Art Institute and her MFA from Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. Currently, she is an associate professor at Rochester Institute of Technology in the School of Art and Design. And Jane says, I am intrigued with the ability of pots to transcend themselves as objects and convey information through surface, context, and form, using the vessel as a format. At its best, the work becomes both artifact and object of the contemporary world. My work draws from many sources to create objects that fraternize with an edge, the moment where expected beauty becomes deconstructed and where the familiar is reconsidered. Another large bowl by Jane, which has a great surface in here. See if I can get it without a glare. And we'll just look at one more over here, another of these box forms. And next, we'll look at some cups by Hannah Thompset. Hannah is from Scioto, New York. Hannah received her BFA from SUNY New Paltz in 2011 and her MFA from New York State College of Ceramics at Alfred University in 2016. Before graduate school, she was a 2-year artist in residence at the Flower City Art Center in Rochester, New York. She currently works as a ceramic art technician at Alfred University and continues her studio practice in Alfred and Scioto, New York. So here we have a series of slip-cast cups that she makes, at least in part by using folded paper as her form, her basis of her form. And then we've got some screen-printed ceramic panels in the back that kind of reference the paper. And we'll go over and look at another grouping of cups as well. Hannah says, knowledge of our world is accumulated through experience, which is mediated through belief and expectation. I examined the idea of constructed reality through material, illusion, and representation. Each piece provides an opportunity for interpretation, which can either support or challenge personal archives of experiential knowledge. And next we'll look at some work by James Tingey from Alfred, New York. James is the raw materials technical specialist and grinding room manager at Alfred University. James received his Master's of Fine Art with a concentration in ceramics from Ohio University in 2012. And James says, I'm interested in the interactions between material, atmosphere, and form. Surfaces serve as a record of an object's origin, materially containing the interactions of time and the process, which operate as indicators of change. I'm interested in the ability of functional ceramics to oscillate focus between the immediate utility of the object and how it functions in a broader context of class, history, technology, labor, and environment. Got a couple more here. And next we'll look at work by Colleen Toledano from Buffalo, New York. Colleen is a mixed media ceramic and installation artist residing in Buffalo, New York, and an associate professor of art at Buffalo State College. She holds a Master of Fine Arts in Ceramics from Ohio University in 2005, and in 2016 she was nominated for the United States Artist Fellowship. In 2019 she was a finalist for a Sustainable Arts Foundation Award. She says of her work, "My current work, autobiographically, explores my notions of family, motherhood, and domestic relationships. Inspired by the chaotic beauty and the balance between the happenstance and organization in my household, I use visual cues of foliage and florals within the work to depict the ever-changing growth in myself as my role in my family constantly transforms. Inspired by the influence my husband and child have on my growth as a person, externally and internally, from afar, the vessel looks formal and organized, and then up close, the abundance of the leaves and the blending of the multiple vessels is more apparent." And I just love the pink glow on the bottom of this one too. And we'll go in and look at another of hers as well. Definitely having a trompe-l'oeil effect, you know, kind of in disbelief that this could not be possibly made from clay, but I assure you it is. Really interesting. And the last artist we'll look at is Robin Whiteman. And let's see, we'll go over here first. So Robin Whiteman is from Springwater, New York. Robin has been sculpting since the age of 12. Since graduating with high honors from RIT in ceramics, her work has been shown internationally and at the national and solo and international shows. Robin's sculpture was purchased in 2018 for the permanent collection of the Memorial Art Gallery in Rochester, New York. And Robin says, "My work is meditation. I use human and animal forms to play with notions of duality. The best work comes with little intellectual thought or planning on my part, more like a conversation with something larger than myself. Ultimately, everything is connected, constantly changing and utterly mysterious." And Robin also introduced me to a new word I did not know, that a group of cats is called a clouder. So that's what this piece is called. But some really great texture on this work and very fun little faces. We'll look at one more by Robin as well. So we have an artist talk coming up with the artists included in this show, and that will be next Tuesday, May 14th, 5 p.m. live on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel and you're there at 5 o'clock, you'll see the video come up, and the recording will also be there after it happens as well. But just don't forget and join us 5 p.m. next Tuesday, the 14th of May. You can preview and purchase work from this exhibition on our website, mainstreetartscs.org. And we hope that you have the chance to come in and see the show for yourself. The exhibition runs through Wednesday, May 29th. And we are open Tuesday and Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Thank you for joining us and watching this virtual walkthrough of the exhibition, and we hope to see you soon.